regrettably, European Union and some European capitals and governments of some European countries are the main obstacle to the peace process in Ukraine.
Die ik graag zou willen vragen om alvast op het podium te komen. His Excellency Ambassador Tarabrin from Russia, who samen met Rico Brouwer, een van de betere onafhankelijke journalisten van Nederland. Als er problemen zijn, is de beste oplossing om erover te praten. Maar nog belangrijker is om te luisteren. Luisteren naar de andere kant. En daarom ben ik blij dat we zelf kunnen horen wat meneer Tarabrin te zeggen heeft. Succes!
So is this on? Yes, it's on. We have to do this in English. You've been here.
Yes, we have to speak English. Regrettably, I don't speak Dutch.
There you go.
Not yet.
Well, I believe the previous ambassador has been here for some 10 years, so you will learn Dutch in your term, you think?
Well, maybe. I hope so.
Okay, so thank you for your talk, Dolf. That was in Dutch. It may have been, you may not have noticed, but he said, thankfully there are some trustworthy politicians as well, so he's going to vote. You can vote for me as well this year. There you go. Okay, my guest is Ambassador to the Russian Federation, His Excellency, Mr. Vladimir Tarabrin. Well, thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you.
And my first question to you is, how often does it happen for an ambassador of the Russian Federation to be talking to a crowd like this of hundreds of people?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, good morning. I'm very happy to be with you. And answering your question, I must say that it's very rarely that I have an opportunity to speak to the Dutch audience directly, like we have an opportunity to do it now. And that's why I'm very grateful for the organizers of this conference for inviting me and for giving me the chance to answer questions, to express Russian position on certain issues that are of great importance both to me and to you, to the audience. So I'm absolutely ready and grateful. Yeah.
You expressed regret that not many Dutch media are willing to engage in conversation with you. What's your observation of the Dutch people's willingness for dialogue and of their position with regards to Russia?
Yes, my contacts with the Dutch public, with the common people, show that there is no hostility in the just ordinary Dutch men and women towards Russia. The problem is that certainly many of them are brainwashed because they watch TV, they read newspapers, and they listen to all these kind of false, absolutely unrealistic accusations about Russia, etc. They have a very distorted view on what we are doing, what are our aims, what we are trying to achieve, and that's why, sometimes I just find out that the people absolutely don't know the real intentions of our country. And at the same time, I must confess that some people are just afraid of speaking to the Russian ambassador, because after having contacts, they are invited to some institutions where they are asked questions. But in general, I must stress that I found the Dutch people as very friendly and very, I would say, understandable to our approach, and I'm very happy about it.
I asked the ambassador if he wants to stay for lunch later.
Yes, I'm with gratitude.
Yeah.
With gratitude, certainly.
So if you want to engage in a discussion yourself,
Yeah.
There's opportunity for that after.
I'm open and free. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. To your health.
It is water, no?
Yeah, it's water. It's water, not vodka, regrettably.
August 15th, President Putin engaged in an extended conversation with President Trump in Anchorage in Alaska. You watch the Dutch news, I assume, as do I. But what was discussed there between Trump and Putin about American and Russian relations?
Well, the United States and Russia are two major nuclear powers that are capable to destroy the whole world, the whole humanity. That's why certainly we bear the primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security, and that's why the dialogue between our two countries is very important for the sake of humanity, I would say. For several years under Biden administration, we didn't have any contacts. We didn't discuss anything. And that was absolutely not normal from all points of view. And the fact that the Trump administration understands the importance of the dialogue is very, I would say, encouraging and optimistic. Yes, a lot of time was spent to the issue of normalizing bilateral relations. There is a long way to go because the legacy of Biden administration is very difficult, I would say. So it will take quite a lot of time to normalize our relations, to bring them to, I would say, normal type of interstate contacts, interstate dialogue. But this process has started, and we see it as a very positive event. And certainly the issues of disarmament, the issues of control of weapons was touched upon, and it was agreed that this issue will be further discussed.
Your boss, Foreign Minister Mr. Lavrov, on August 24th said in an NBC interview that it was the Biden administration and Europeans who instigated the conflict in Ukraine. And Lavrov went on to say that Putin and Trump want peace in Ukraine, but the Europeans do not want peace. We cannot allow Russia to win, would be the position of Europe. So my question to you is, are we at war already, de facto, or is it coming, or can we avoid it? What's your position on that?
Well, yes, I fully agree with my minister that now, regrettably, European Union and some European capitals and governments of some European countries are the main obstacle to the peace process in Ukraine. And when you ask about the question whether we are in the state of war between Russia and Europe, well, on the one hand, yes, we do have diplomatic relations. I am here with you as Russian ambassador. I presented my letters of credence to His Majesty the King, who was very polite and gracious. And Dutch embassy in Moscow operates absolutely freely. We don't have much dialogue with the foreign ministry. Our dialogue is mainly concentrated on the issues of functioning of two embassies, our embassy here and Dutch embassy in Moscow, but still we have diplomatic relations. But on the other hand, we see that in Ukraine, the Ukrainian side is fighting against Russia with Western weapons, with weapons produced in Europe, in the United States, and not only fighting. Ukrainians are not capable of operating most of the weapons that were delivered to them. Enormous military, material, financial, intelligence support is rendered to Ukraine by the European countries, including, regrettably, the Netherlands. So, what's it? It's not a hot war, clearly, but it's a kind of a proxy war. We are fighting not with Ukraine, we are fighting with NATO, with all its just capacities. And
in times of economic decline, history teaches us that war is a common outcome. And we see European Union now being in decline. Maybe UK and France need support from IMF. And in the context of that, the saber rattling, yeah, we've had the Cold War, so now we're in the proxy war, not a hot war just yet. Or is this a new variety of war that we're in? And can we escape it, you think?
Well, what we see now is the very, very aggressive, very, I would say, unfriendly statements by the European leaders who just encourage the enormous increase in military spendings, who are speaking about the future of war with Russia, and even the time limit is being named. It's by the year of 2030. And it's, in our opinion, it's extremely irresponsible and dangerous statements because, we do not want war. We are not preparing for war. We do not have any aggressive intentions against Europe. We want to live with Europe in peace and as good neighbors, because we are on the one continent, And these, I would say, dangerous statements, they are either stupid, I would say, or manifest a very high degree of hypocrisy. They are very hypocritical, because those who speak about the war with Russia, they must understand that the war between NATO and Russia will not be a conventional war, as we have now just in Ukraine. It will be a nuclear war in which the humanity will be destroyed, eliminated. Perhaps maybe someone in Australia will survive, but Europe will be destroyed, as well as main part of Russia. We do not want this destiny for our children and grandchildren.
We talked a little under a year ago. That's what I do as a journalist. So my television 8 o'clock news tells me that you're the aggressor and you want to conquer Europe. I say, well, let's talk to the guy. And we had a very nice conversation at the embassy. One of the first questions that I asked you was about Trump, who said he's going to fix the Ukraine war in a day. And your response was, well, it's going to take slightly longer than that. Now I have a follow-up question for you. Do you think a conclusive and lasting peace agreement can be reached within the current Trump administration term?
Well, Trump has, as I believe, more than 3 years ahead of his administration, and that's a long period. I hope really that the situation in Ukraine and around Ukraine could be settled earlier by political means, preferably. Certainly, we would strongly prefer this choice. But if no, then it will be achieved by the military means in the course of our special military operation. But I hope that the peace will come sooner or later, and the sooner the better.
Okay. President Putin told American journalist Tucker Carlson last year that he believes the United States blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. Last week, a Ukrainian man, Sergei K., as it was displayed on the news items, was detained in Italy on a European arrest warrant. So German investigators believe that it was Ukraine, or this guy, that blew up Nord Stream. My question to you, what is the Russian position on who blew up Nord Stream?
Well, first of all, I think everyone understands that it was a terrorist act, a very sophisticated terrorist act. And even the German government acknowledged this fact, that it was a terrorist attack against a very sophisticated infrastructural facility. But when the Western politicians and Western media try to portray it as an action of a group of amateur divers with a small boat, you know, it's funny, I would say. Yes, you smile, I smile. It's absolutely clear that this act could be exercised with the support of a powerful state. And I don't think that Ukraine is capable to do it by itself without the support of more powerful, more sophisticated means that they possess, really, that they do have. And the problem is that there was no open investigation conducted by Sweden, Denmark, Germany. Well, it was not open to the public. Maybe they have found something, but they didn't reveal it, you know. But I know perfectly, I'm sure that they know perfectly well who did it. And we all know who did it. But since the investigation is not really finished, we can only presume, you know. And yes, there were some journalists, American journalists, who clearly indicated to the Biden administration. And I believe that's a very, very solid indication, yeah.
Does Russia know conclusively who shot down MH17?
Well, I can tell for sure that we didn't do it. You know, as to who did it, the problem is that the investigation conducted by the Dutch authorities, by this joint investigation team, etc., and later these trials, they were from the very beginning, they were politicized and biased. They had a, you know, just predetermined target, predetermined result to put the blame on Russia. At the same time, we were not given a chance to participate in this investigation. We produced and submitted to this investigation team quite a lot of very important data. Data that clearly indicated to the different version of this tragedy. And I would say, and certainly if this data was examined, perhaps the conclusions would be very different. But they were just thrown away, and the Ukrainian side was not even asked a single question. For instance, about the failure to close the airspace, the question about where these air controllers who just were operating there, where they disappeared. No one asked them a single question, etc., etc., etc. But this is certainly a big tragedy, and I would once again seize this opportunity to express our deep sympathy and condolences to the victims of this tragedy.
Okay. Thank you for engaging in this conversation in front of the audience. Would you be willing to take it one step further and in the time that we have left here, take questions from the audience?
Okay.
All right. Webbe? Yeah, we have time for 2 questions. Okay, so who's first?
Hello, my name is Linda Fontaine. My question is... Yeah, gaat die goed? Okay. The frequent insane remarks of Mr. Rutte, the Secretary of the NATO, how does that influence the relation, of course? Because you talk about Trump, but the Secretary of the NATO and his insane remarks, they must have an effect. And do you ignore them? Do you say, okay, or does this have a very negative effect on the negotiations to come to peace?
Thank you. Yeah, so we had Stoltenberg, now we have Mark Rutte. Yeah. He's from the Netherlands, so my apologies for that. What will be your response to this question?
You know, I must admit with regret that under Mr. Rutte's leadership, guidance in the NATO, our relations, in my opinion, further deteriorated. Because every day, he is making extremely hostile, aggressive, insulting statements about Russia, Russian leaders, etc., etc., etc. And in my opinion, this is extremely irresponsible statements, because as I have indicated previously, just answering your question, the aggravation of situation between Russia and NATO is very dangerous. Just this escalation can, at a certain level, can become, some kind of uncontrolled. And that will bring disastrous consequences to Europe, to Russia, and to the whole humanity.
Thank you for that. One last question.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamila Lepere. Thank you for trusting us enough to come here and take questions as well. I have a critical question, if I may. A lot of us respect your political leaders because of their wisdom and their restraint. Yet at the same time, there is worry about the BRICS program sounding the same as the globalist agenda that we have here in the West. Can you explain why a lot of the goals seem similar, and how should we see that?
Well, as far as I understand, you are asking a question about BRICS, yes? Yeah. BRICS. BRICS, yes.
So yes. The question, if I'm paraphrasing, is BRICS more of the same that we've already had here in Europe, but then your variety of it?
Yeah. Well, I believe BRICS is very different what you have here in Europe, because first of all, BRICS is not an organization; it's a kind of just club of countries that have common goals, that have common vision on world developments, that are aspiring to make the world order more just and fair. And what is very different from, for instance, European Union, is that no one in BRICS is trying to impose its position on others. Countries and leaders in BRICS, they are free to have their own national positions. But what they want a more just international world order that takes into account not only interests and positions of one group of states, but the whole humanity. That's it.
Vladimir Tarabrin, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Het gaat hier vandaag over saamhorigheid.
We zien dingen niet normaal maken wat niet normaal hebben. Allebei wel gelijk. Als we verder willen. En ik gewoon van je kant bekijk.
Predator drones.
Als ik daar zie wat jij ziet.
You will never see it coming.
Respect is waar het begint. Als we
laat staan dat ik kan ingaan over vuur.
wat sterker is, wint.